English Grammar, Lesson 24. Topic: Articles with places and geographical names.
My husband thinks our family needs a change of scenery. He works every day in the city, and while the children and I spend most of our time here in the suburbs. So, where are we going? I'll give you a clue. A few clues. We're going to the beach, and not just any beach. We have our passports, and we're going to Jamaica. Now, I've been to the Caribbean before. At one point, I worked in the Bahamas, but I've never been to Jamaica, so I'm really looking forward to our trip. In this lesson, I'd like to help you learn some guidelines for using articles with places and geographical names. For example, I said the city, the suburbs, the beach, the Bahamas, but I used no article with Jamaica. Why is that? I'll help you learn the answer to that question. When we want to explain where someone is, that is, the person's general location, and perhaps the activity the person is engaged in, the activity they're doing right now, we use a preposition like at or to plus a noun with no article, zero article. For example, right now I'm at home. My husband is at work, and my children are at school. Where are we going? We're going on vacation.
Question: Where are you right now? At home? At work?
When we talk about the type of area someone can live in or be in, we use the definite article the plus a noun, as in the city, the suburbs, the beach. I live in the suburbs. Where is your home? Is it in the suburbs or in the city? Perhaps you have relatives who live in the country or the countryside. Where would your dream home be? Would it be in the beach or the mountains? When we talk about places around town, we're mostly talking about public buildings. In this case, we use the definite article the plus a count noun. For example, I went to the post office to get my daughter her passport. The rest of us already had ours. I also went to the pharmacy to get some medicine. And I have yet to go to the bank to get some money. Some places around town are owned and operated by an individual, one person. In this case, we also use the definite article the and the name of the person, often in the possessive. For example, I went to the doctor's. I went to the dentist's. Someone came from the florist's to deliver this bouquet to me. It's from my cousins, and they sent it to me for Mother's Day.
Note: we actually use this structure the plus a possessive noun in two cases, with a person's business and with a family's home. Look at the first set of examples. I went to the doctor's. We're using the plus a possessive noun because we have the type of work, the type of profession, the doctor's. We could also say I went to the florist's, the butcher's, the dentist's. It's the person's place of work, a shop or an office. But, next example, Wendy's is a fast food restaurant like McDonald's. Here, we're not using the definite article because a first or last name is the name of the business. And our final example, we're invited to the Smiths, a family's home.
We also use the definite article the plus the name of a specific building, a building such as a hotel or museum or government building. That's why we say the White House, the Kremlin, the Boston Science Museum, the Marriott Hotel.
Question: do you remember where you were yesterday? Name all the places you went to in the order you visited them. For example, I went to the dentist's, then I stopped at the pharmacy.
To talk about someone being in a place that's an institution, we use the zero article, no article. For example, at church, in college. Do you know anyone in college? Are you in college? You know that my family is taking a trip. We're going to Jamaica. We're going to fly from Boston to Jamaica. Our home is actually in the suburbs of Boston, Massachusetts, in the United States of America. When we talk about geographical names, we often don't need an article. We don't need an article before most names of cities, states, and countries. The exception would be countries with an S at the end of the name, plural names. For example, the United States. These names are countries with groups of states, groups of republics, or groups of islands. That's why I said the Bahamas and the United States, but I didn't say the in front of Jamaica.
Note: let's add continents to the list of geographical names that are used with the zero article. Use no article before Africa, Antarctica, Asia, Australia, Europe, North and South America. Question: do you have plans to travel? Name cities or countries you'd like to visit.
I told you that most names of countries don't require an article, but regions do. We use the definite article the plus the name of a region. For example, the Middle East, the Bermuda Triangle.
Note: when speaking of the U.S., Americans say the North to refer to northern states, the South, the West, and the East to refer to states in those regions. However, the East could only refer to northeastern states. Exceptions would be the more conversational phrases out west and back east. In those phrases, no article is used. Question: are people basically the same in all parts of your country? Can you describe any differences from region to region?
Names of lakes and mountains are like names of countries in that we usually use the zero article. The exception would be groups, groups of lakes, groups of mountain ranges. For example, we say Mount Everest, but we say the Himalayas, the Rocky Mountains. I can tell you about Lake Erie and Lake Michigan and Lake Superior, but I'll say the Great Lakes because I'm talking about a group of 5 lakes. Names of oceans, rivers, and seas require the definite article. For example, I've traveled along the Mississippi River, and I've been to the Black Sea.
Questions. 1. Can you name all the oceans? 2. How many seas can you name? 3. How many lakes and rivers have you seen in your country?
There's one more place we haven't talked about, outer space. Astronauts take shuttles and they go to space. We use the zero article before the words space and outer space to talk about that place beyond Earth's atmosphere. We also use the zero article before names of planets, such as Mars and Venus. The exception would be to use the definite article with the sun, the moon, because they're unique and they're specific. We know which moon and which sun we're talking about. Our moon and our sun.
Note, Earth is actually used with and without the definite article. To simply name our planet, no article is needed, as in, we live on planet Earth. However, to name something specific on our planet or about our planet, we usually use the definite article. For example, the Earth's rotation, the surface of the Earth. When we use Earth to mean our world, we often use it without an article, and if we're writing it in this sense, then we use a lowercase e. These patterns are particularly common with idioms and conversational expressions. For example, why on earth didn't you tell me? This means, why in the world didn't you tell me? And our last example, she'd move heaven and earth for her children's happiness. It's just an expression. It means she'd do just about anything in her power or in her means to make her children happy. Questions. 1. If you had the chance, would you travel to the moon? 2. How much time do you think you could spend in space? This is the end of Part 1. Before you go on to Part 2, I'd like to invite you to EnglishCafe.com, where additional practice for the first half of our lesson is available under the name Jennifer ESL. Follow the link in the video description.